that I'm sure it still feels good. But when you've gone through really hard times, or when you've been challenged by something, or you drop lower, the high of the success is so much higher. It's so much of a longer journey. Personally, when we've spoke before, and when we talked about CM Punk when he was fighting the first time, I was like, this is stupid. You know, this guy is pushing, stacking himself into a position to try to not fail by making the challenge so difficult that even if he fails, you don't really. But this is fully different now. Yeah. Like now I'm cheering for him because he was humiliated. Like he didn't just fail. He was humiliated. He in front of everybody was shown to be, people would judge him as weak, or the judgment that he would feel is bad. And he said, I'll go do it again. We are now in a completely different context, because that's a guy who epically failed in front of everybody and then dealt with that and now says, I will try the journey again and this will make me a better person. And I fully endorse this. I'm cheering for him now.
Well, he's now fighting a fighter who's commensurate in talent. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with being a beginner in martial arts, but there's something wrong with thinking that you can be a beginner and fight Mickey Gall.
Big time.
It was a foolish venture. And my approach to it was, this is going to be a very good lesson for people that are fans of positive thinking and they think that's enough. That shit is not enough. If you weigh 110 pounds, you could positive think your way to the bank. Francis Ngannou's still going to punch your brains out. There's just no way around it. And a guy who has really very little experience in martial arts and has rudimentary control of his body. I mean, that's what I saw when I saw him training. 100%. When I saw him training, I was like, "Oh my God,
he didn't belong there.
Killed."
He did not belong there in that context."
But he belongs here.
Yeah, and everything's contextual. Like, just because I thought that was stupid, it was stupid.
Right.
It was stupid. But that doesn't mean in this context I can't look and go, "There's a guy who didn't need to. He doesn't need to come back. He doesn't need to try again. He doesn't need to go into the gym." And I've been there. You're in the gym, and everyone's going, "Oh man, you did good." I didn't do good. I fucking failed miserably in front of everybody, and then show up there, clean the mats, and work really hard and say, I'm going to try it again. And yes, that fight still, him and this guy, still should take place somewhere else.
100%.
It should. I mean,
it shouldn't even be on the Tuesday Night Contender show.
No, it shouldn't.
It should be in some amateur event somewhere. Because that's really what they are. They're guys learning how to compete.
Yeah.
They're in the first fight in the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's
fucking crazy.
But that has nothing to do with them. That is a reflection on the company. That's a reflection on the choices that the machine makes.
They probably also gave him a juicy contract. And, in order to make that valid or viable, you have to make money off the guy.
Yeah. But that, again, I think it makes it deeper and harder and more chances to fail epically. And I lost twice in a row and then still wanted to fight again. And still, because I really wanted to. And it was important to me, and it meant something to me, and I was going to change as a human being by doing it. And I was ridiculed. I can relate to what he's going through. But I did it on a little show in Winnipeg, Manitoba. You know what I mean? Right. I would never have put myself in that place to look bad. But here he is, and here it is, and I'm cheering for him as a human being in a weird situation that has been put himself into a deep, dark, hard spot, and saying, my way out of this is to try really hard and really go in. And the chance, all that I would want for him if I knew him and he was my friend, is to fight your way through some adverse situations, to be able to be in it and find when it's hard, you discover, yeah, I can handle when it's hard. I can get up when I've been dropped, or I can fight through not being able to breathe. If he loses and does that, it will have been worth it for him. No matter how much ridicule he'll take, it will have been worth it for him.
What was really weird watching him walk to the cage was that he was approaching it like a pro wrestling fight, because he had done so many of these pro wrestling matches that he was walking to the cage with like pro wrestling mannerisms and everything. And I was watching this, and I did like an internal head shake, like, oh fuck, like this is, you can't. It was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like whoever on his side said that he could fight Mickey Gall, you're out of your fucking mind. Watch that kid fight once. That kid is very good on the ground. Yeah. Very good.
And big and strong and young.
Stand-up's not bad either.
Yeah.
You know, and he's tough as shit and he's smart. He's clever and he's mean.
Yeah.
He's a mean fucker.
And that is, at that stage, he was maybe 1-0, I think, or maybe 2. But it's still the lowest level that there is in the entire elite world of fighting. Not that
It didn't matter. It was the way he won.
Yeah.
Like, you saw it. You saw the way he took that guy's back and the way he sinks hooks in.
And
like,
when he was on top and just delivered
Nasty.
with
Just
but that's
nasty.
how it, and you're 100% right. If somebody's watching that is the reality of thinking, I won't really worry, I'll put myself in a situation that I can't win, but I've got guts and heart and I believe I'm going to do it. You get the metaphorical version of that punch in the face if you go through life like that.
Yes, you do. And you know what? You shouldn't do it in fighting because you don't want those punches in the face if you can't avoid them. Like, if you're in a situation where you want to prove your toughness and you want to battle against someone who's of your skill level and try to figure your way through the maze of this contest, that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is getting punched in the face unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And when you fight, in my opinion, when I looked at that fight, I was like, Mickey Gall's going to smash him. This is just how it's going to go. There's very few fights where I can tell you this is absolutely going to happen. Like, here's a perfect example. Rafael Dos Anjos against Colby Covington. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
No idea.
I don't know.
Nope.
They're going to get in there. They're going to throw down. Let's see.
Yep.
Let's see. Mickey Gall versus, I forgot. CM Punk.
Yeah.
What's his real name?
Phil
Jackson? No.
Hardman?
What's his fucking name?
Phil,
Whatever.
what? Yeah.
CM Punk.
Yeah,
What is
CM.
it, Jamie? Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah. Phil Brooks.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Phil. I was like, well, this is a terrible idea because he's just going to get. You can only
Yes.
get punched in the face so many times in your life.
Yeah.
And you have a number. Whatever the number is, everybody's different. Mark Hunt's number seems to be extraordinarily high.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's some people that could just take it. And
It's true.
But, you don't want it when you can't avoid it. And he's not going to avoid it in that fight. He was going to get smashed. Unless Mickey caught a crazy arm bar early in the fight, and that was what he gave him.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's getting his face smashed in. And you should not do that if you don't have to.
Well, as I remember when we spoke about it, it's unconscious incompetence. And, and that, if you don't know what you don't know, it's a really fucking weird place to be. And we go through life that way a lot of times in a lot of different contexts until you find out, conscious incompetence where you're like, oh, fuck, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
He wasn't even at that point. Now he's at that point and he has a lower level thing. So, and, it was a mistake to start down this road, but you're down it now.
Yeah.
You're on it now. So,
I guess. It seems to me that, he's taken, 2 years since that fight?
Yep.
Has it been about 2 years?
It's getting there, yeah.
And we've subsequently got to see Mickey Gall in some contests against some really tough guys
Sage
and beat them. And, beat some good guys. Yeah. And we got to see, okay, this kid is fucking for real, which is what we suspected all along. But we don't know anything about Phil. We haven't seen him spar. We haven't seen him train. But from what I saw, when I first saw him training, the first, when I first saw him sparring and moving around, I was like, God damn, there's a lot of work to be done. Yeah. Like first steps of Everest work to be done. It's like, this is, we're not talking about a guy who has like a deep background in martial arts, like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Wrestling is absolutely a martial art. He was a legit top of the food chain amateur wrestler. He was a fucking monster.
And a physical monster. That and a psychological monster. Like fighting is skills for sure, but it's your body and it's your mind. And when you are a heavy competitor, when you're able to focus in the deepest, most fearful conditions, Brock Lesnar did that. And physically, when you're aware, like you said, we're aware of where your body is in space and how to control it. That can take a lifetime.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird one. But
I think it's something you also develop as a child, as a young kid. Like when you're in your developmental years, 13, 14, 15, your body's growing, and it's growing into whipping kicks and punches and shooting takedowns and landing chokes. Your body develops that way. When you're a full-grown man in your 30s, and then you're starting to throw roundhouse kicks and front kicks, and your body's all goofy and shit, and doesn't want to listen right. It's not pliable. It's not elastic. It's just you're a different animal.
You can still learn anything. You at 50 years old, you can take up anything in the world. You can take
Fuck
up
yeah.
anything, and you should.
Yeah, you
But
should.
you shouldn't, go in the NFL with it. Or if you start playing piano when you're 50, you should learn to play piano and show all your friends that you know the song.
Right.
But you can't go be in a concert piano scenario where you're going to fail. And doing it and saying, I believe doesn't make a difference when
It
you
doesn't make a
can't
difference.
physically or mentally or psychologically do these things. But I still think learning and growing and chasing things and self-improvement is the root of who we are.
I agree. Yeah, I think it is too. But you can't be a 34-year-old man who's never boxed a day in your life and have a goal to, in 12 months, fight Lomachenko.
No.
It's never going to happen.
No.
Or
And-
if it does happen, it's going to be a disaster.
And there are giant exceptions, like 1 in a million of things where people do things, but there's always some other explanation. And often it is, as a youth, they created the neural pathways and the physicality and the connection to their body. I did gymnastics when I was a kid, and I loved it.
It's a great base.
Yeah, I loved it. And it helps you physically understand where your body